Randy Duck and welcome back for another video, and today I've got two replays to show you in the Tier 9 Italian tech tree medium tank, the Standard B. Now as you know, they've recently done a balance change and there's a lot of tanks which have had a change and a buff, and over the next coming weeks I'm going to try and get videos in those tanks so you can see them and what they have done. But the first tank I've chose to do the replay on is the Standard B. Now this is a tank, well, I've always really quite enjoyed the Standard B anyway, but it's had quite a significant buff. So I've got two replays to show that off for you today, but before I get into them, I'll quickly go over what they have done. Now I'm going to focus on the top tier packages because that's what you're going to be aiming for once you've got this tank fully upgraded. So they've increased the rotational speed of the turret from 34 degrees to 36. They've increased the view range from 390 to 400. But then you've got the significant change. So on the 105mm gun, which is a gun you're going to be using once you've fully upgraded this, you've basically got 2 seconds off each of your shells. So your longest reload has gone down from 19.7 seconds base reload to 18 seconds. Your second shell has gone down from 17.7 seconds to 16 seconds, and then your fastest loading shell has gone down from 15.7 seconds to 13 seconds base reload. So in my build, which you will see shortly, shell 1, your fastest loading shell, is now got a reload to 9.50 seconds, shell 2 11.70 seconds, and shell 3 13.10 seconds. So it's actually made quite a significant difference to the tank. Now what I'm going to do, I've got two replays to show it off, so let's get into those replays and yeah, we can see how this tank performs. Okay, so here we are for replay number 1, where we are on Redshire, and it is tier 10 matchmaking. So we have no enemy fun police to contend with though, but we do have 2 enemy light tanks. Now if you want to see the crew and the equipment setup I'm using, you'll be able to see that at the bottom of the screen as I speak. But initially we're going to go to try and play the sort of E3 ridgeline, see what we can spot, get a bit of information for ourselves and our team, and then we can go from there. Now you can play the ridgelines quite well in the Standard B because you do have 10 degrees of gun depression, and overall I've always enjoyed the Standard B anyway, just because of the fantastic mobility and the flexibility of the tank. Now we track a Standard B in position and we opt to fire 2 of our shells into that tank, and we end up picking quite a lot of the track assistance. Now Standard B has now been left on a 1 shot, which is a good start for our team, and we managed to pick up all the track assistance and the damage, so we're off to a great start here. We do have tanks pushing down the 1-2 line. This could be useful for us because it means those tanks on the ridge lines there, it's going to be awkward for them to poke, so they might get shot by our tanks on the 1-2. But overall, I've got to be careful not to play too aggressive yet, because I don't know, you've got to bear in mind that those mediums in front of us, there will be tanks covering them in the sort of J2-3 area. But so far, I don't know where the majority of the team are. I'm guessing there probably will be some heavy tanks pushing down the 8-9-0 line. We might have to keep an eye on, but I'm just going to keep doing what I do, try and spot for our team. If our tanks keep pushing down the 1 line, they'll probably end up spotting some of their tank destroyers or which are camping in the back. That might allow me to get some shots in. But as you can see, there's quite a few tanks been spotted on the 9-0, so we only really have 3 tanks there, so we may end up losing that flank. So that's something we're going to have to be careful of. We might be able to get a few shots into them as they cross here. But pretty even start to the game. We managed to pick up a kill. We have a slight lead on the enemy team, but it's still very, very close at this point. We do spot a enemy tank in the middle. May be able to get some shots into this, but then this SVAT gets spotted. Now we are going to dump our clip into this tank because it's a nightmare tank. That tank is very, very difficult to spot and it can really put out the damage. So we do dump our whole clip and take that opportunity. Unfortunately, we don't roll high enough to finish him off, but it does put us onto 2,000 damage now. But now we're on our longest reload. But with that buff to having that 2 seconds off, it does really help. Now I'm going to try and potentially finish this tank off, but I want to wait for my shell to be loaded so I don't end up wasting my reload time there and nerfing my DPM. I wait and I manage to get the kill anyway. But we have now lost the 8-9 line, and this is not too good for our team. So I'm thinking I need to try and go back to stop those tanks crossing straight in towards our base. Because once those tanks get underneath our ridge at the sort of G4-5 area, that's when we're going to be in a bit of a problem. Because if they get underneath the ridge, they're going to be able to constantly spot all our tanks on the ridge, and then they won't be able to poke and get damage in. So I'm thinking what's best here, I might try and get to the sort of A4, 5 area, so I can keep those tanks detected, and when they, if I get there in time, I might be able to get punishing if they do try and cross, across there. And yeah, ultimately I just want to keep the vision. But you can see, how quickly you can get around the map with this. It's got a top speed, I think, of 65 kilometers an hour, but the power to weight is fantastic, and you just get to that top speed really well. And I think that's one of the reasons I've really enjoyed this tank in general, even more so since above. But it's still a very close game, 10 versus 10. We've had a decent start, but there's a lot of hit points, still over almost half the hit points, and it's bang even at the moment, 47% hit points for each team and 10 kills, 10 tanks left on each team. Spotted enemy E100. We probably need to wait for the drive wheel, because maybe we can track him in the open when he comes back round that corner. We do in fact do that, and hopefully we can put another shell into his track wheel there. Unfortunately, we don't manage to pen there, and we don't really get any punish for tracking that tank. But an enemy mouse is now crossing. Now this is not ideal. I want to try and get as many of his hit points out as I possibly can. We get one shell in. We're almost reloaded on our second shell. Kind of want to wait for that second shell to go in before I fire, and then it does, and then I kind of just completely waste that shell. Wait a split second, I would have been able to get a better shot into that mouse. And this is where it starts to go a little bit wrong for our team, because that mouse, as I say, is now got underneath the ridge, and that's a real problem. I'm going to struggle to pen him with my 268 standard APCR rounds, unless I can get his lower plate or something like that. I'll probably need to swap to my 330 heat rounds in order to go through that mouse. But for the time being, I don't want to force a whole reload, so I have to reload all 3 shells to do so. So a little bit of an awkward situation. That bat chat as well, it was a one shot, is still in the sort of A8 area. That's awkward as well, because I can't even cross over there and then get side angles on the mouse and try and put them under some awkward line of fire. It's not going to be possible, but I'm going to try and pull back, and it kind of looks like the mouse may expose his lower plate here, so I might be able to squeeze a few shots in. First shot doesn't pen. I'm going to try and go for it again. This time it does. We put the mouse onto a 2-shot to us, looking to try and squeeze in a final shell. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen, and we get spotted for it, and we need to pull back. We're now getting pushed by a full health E100. We're doing all we can, but yeah, this is not great, because I'm not going to be able to kill the E100 in one clip. I'm going to need support, and I'm thinking I might be better just to get out of it now and maybe try and push down to almost the enemy's base and come behind these tanks. And I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to fight the E100. I'm just going to let him chase ghosts, basically, and just get out of there. Because then if he gets there, he's not in a great position for an E100. If he pokes a ridge, I might be able to get shots into him. So I'm going to try and pull back. We're on 3,000 damage, 1,000 assistance. We still have pretty much all of our hit points, so we're in a strong position there, but our team's starting to fade away a little bit, and we don't really have great map control, and I'm starting to think this game is not going to win, but I'm going to dig in and try all I can. E100 gets tracked. Now I'm going to try and keep him tracked in place here so our team can finish him off. We do manage to track him. We put a second shell in as well. We have loaded to the heat shells. That's because we knew we wanted to try and take out that enemy mouse, because there is 2 mouses on the enemy team. We put on to about 3,500 damage now with almost 1,700 track assistance. But yeah, it's not going great. We're running out of places to go. I'm going to try and get across to where, well, I'm thinking I was going to try and get across down to the K line here, or try and get in a position to shoot that enemy E100 at the A1, but I really need to do something, because yeah, this is not great. And then as I was going to go and try and go to the K12 area, a full health mouse appears. That is not what we want. There's a 1-shot panther there, but now I can't push behind. I've now got, yeah, an enemy one-shot VK here. Maybe we can squeeze a shot into the turret to confirm that kill. We do pick up our second kill of the game, but I can't go backwards because there's 2 tanks or 3 tanks behind us. Yeah, at this point I'm thinking, no, it's all over now. It's a 2 versus 6. Yeah, we're not going to be able to win this game. They've still got an enemy Vanguard. I think let's just go and kill this enemy Panther. Might as well just get rid of this tank, as he is a one-shot here. Maybe get our third kill of the game, and then maybe we can try and run from the mouse. But yeah, this is... Sometimes you just can't win them all, and that is an example of this game. Now, we're not going to give up. We are just going to keep trying to run. There's a Vanguard here. Oh, let's just snapshot him. Yeah, okay, we killed him on the move. I'm thinking, can we lose our spot? If we manage to lose our spot and get out of here, then I can outspot all these tanks, but it's not looking likely, is it? I'm weaving, I'm diving here. Just please, lose my spot. And then, yeah, come on, can we just get out of here? How am I still alive right now? Yeah, get tracked. I'm thinking this is going to be, well, game over here, sorry. And yeah, somehow I'm still alive. I don't know. Then we get tracked here, and now I think, right, it's definitely game over. Oh no, we finally lose our spot. Okay, right, let's get out of here. 100 hit points and a dream. Now, I'm thinking I should have gone right. I was hoping I could get under the bridge before the other enemy TD comes and spots us, but no, full health, TD pops over the ridge, and yeah, game over. So that was gutting. If I could have just got out of there, so I could outspot all those targets, so I'd have a real chance of winning that game. But it wasn't to be, but we still have a decent game. I kind of showed that with this replay mainly because, well, the end was just kind of crazy, to be honest. But we've got a second replay to come, so let's move on to replay number 2. Okay, so we made it to replay number 2. This time we're it's tier 10 matchmaking again. And we're on Sand River, which is a map I really enjoy. Probably one of my favourite maps, but not so much in this spawn. You know, the encounter spawn, I think, ruins it a little bit when you're in a tank like this. But initially we're just going to use our quick mobility to get up onto the ridgeline, see if we can spot anything crossing. More often than not, you're going to get most of the team at the start playing the A12 area. And it's kind of a little bit awkward, to be honest. There is one enemy artillery in the as well, so we do get spotted. You know, you've got to think he's probably going to be shooting. An enemy medium crosses just as we stop looking, which is a shame, otherwise we could have got a shot into him. But it looks like he's going to give us an opportunity here. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what he's doing there, but we managed to squeeze in the shot and actually track him in place as well. We pick up our first shell of the game. Now, I do need to keep an eye on if any tanks try and cross the A67 to get up to the top of that hill. If they do, I do want to be in a position to punish them crossing. But as we've managed to take the A7 aggressively, which is nice, that's probably going to stop those tanks doing that. Now, an enemy IS-3 gets caught out. I fired 2 shells, I missed 1. I opted to not fire the last shell. I was going to wait to make sure I can get my second shell loaded instead, because I didn't have a fantastic shot and I didn't want to miss it. Enemy T30 looks like it's to the cross, but he loses his spot and he's gone back now to a hold down position. You can see so far we haven't really got spotted. I'm not focusing the A12 at the moment, because the second I do, they're going to detect me. And whilst I still got damage available like this, I'm going to try and get that punish in. IS-3's moving to try and get under the ridge, but we track him in position. We get our 3 shots away and we pick up our first kill of the game, putting us on to about 1,700 damage. Now, we are losing the game, but at this stage it is still very close. So I'm going to try and now see if anything crosses, because it looks like something was going to move up. Now, an enemy heavy is crossing. There's a TD, but I'm waiting for my shell to load. I don't want to waste my reload here. That shell loads. I'm thinking at this point I'm going to leave this position, so I'm going to dump my clip and get the much damage I can and get out of here now, because this is not looking great for our team. 9 versus 13. Enemy team is starting to win that location. It's not a good fight for me anymore. It's not a good engagement. So, being that it's encounter battle, I'm just, they might try, if they win this side, they might try and get in the cap. I'm just going to try and get out of there and win the other side of the map, and then hopefully we can try and get cross shots to the tanks in the sort of the F5-6 ridges, because I did well to get a decent amount of damage in that location. 2,500, kept well, most of my hit points. I'm about 1,200 hit points and got a little bit of assistance as well and a kill. But it wasn't a great fight for me anymore. One of the enemy tanks is in the cap circle. I'm not bothered because I'm not concerned that he's going to cap out. If anything, it's quite nice because if I win this side, I'll be able to get easy shots into the tank in the cap circle. At least that's my mindset at the moment. So I'm going to try and move as fast as we can, maximise on the great mobility of the Standard B and try and clear this flank out. As we do though, we spot the enemy FV1005 who is full health. Now we do have a friendly heavy tank with us, but I kind of need to kill this tank very quickly, if I'm honest. That's why I opt to put that shot in, because I need to just remove this tank because we're not winning this game. I need to win this side of the flank and I need to do it, well, now basically. Thankfully our friendly artillery looks like he puts a shot into the F3000, so might be able to finish him off, or should be able to finish him off in one clip. But also, you know, you do have no armour in the Standard B, so if he connects a big shell, he's gonna one-shot us, so we need to be careful of that. I'm trying to keep my friendly heavy tank in the game, so I need all the tanks I can get at this point. I don't want to poke that anymore. It's not good. I'm going to see if I can move quick enough and get up to this ridge in front of us. As he's advancing, I will be able to poke and get shots in. So that's kind of my plan. Maybe I can get a different angle to shoot him. We do, in fact. He's a one-shot, and we pick up that kill, getting our second kill. More importantly, clearing that flank and trying to, you know, even up the scores a little bit. It's 8 versus 10. Hit points is actually in our favour here. You know, we're on 34% to their 27%. So this game is close. Now we won this flank, I'm going to try and push around to sort of the F2 area, which means if that cap gets detected by our friendly TD in front, I'll be able to get side shots into them. At least that's my thought process at the moment. I want our tanks in the sort of C8, 9 area just to hold for as long as they possibly can. Dig in as long as I can so I can try and get round the back of these tanks, create a different angle and put them under a little bit more pressure. G-Saw gets spotted, we slap a shot in, damages engine, he gets finished off by our friendly Emil 1, which was able to help keep alive earlier, so it worked out well that, you know, we could do that. Put us on to 3,700 damage now, 2 kills, 1,100 assistance, and it's back to a 6 versus 9 hit points, very even at this point. There's 3 tanks in the middle, maybe we can try and get some shots into them. I did see an enemy artillery fire from the F2 area, so we might be able to overpeak and spot him if he's not in a great position. If he's in the open, if we can kill the enemy artillery, you know, it's only going to be helpful for our friendly team. Still very, very close. There is a light tank who is a 2-shot. Unfortunately, we missed a shot, albeit it is a slim shot to take. And now it's brought back to a 5 versus 6. I'm thinking this game is very winnable, and there's also, you know, still enough, you know, hit points in there for us to have a really decent game. So we don't want to throw this away. We've done well to try and bring this back. I'm going to try and see if we can spot this artillery. Now I do spot him, but I'm mindful if I shoot him here and I get spotted for firing, which I probably will, if there's any TDs in the middle, I could get shut down so quickly. So I'm going to pull back a little bit to a safer position. Hopefully my friendly team can get shot in, but looking at the map, they're probably not in render. So I'm going to try and pull back as far as I can, give me every opportunity and not getting detected. Thankfully, we don't get spotted here, and now we should be able to dump our clip and kill the enemy front police before we get to safety. Bring us back to a 4 versus 4, putting us on to 4,200 damage and 3 kills. And I want to try and get back to my team now to try and support them as they're getting pushed. I might be able to get some shots in here. So I was thinking about going up to the middle, just where the cap circle is. So as the enemy tanks, like this light tank, if he crosses down the 9-0, I might be able to get some shots into them. But as I make my advance, unfortunately we do lose a friendly tank. And yeah, I need to try and get here pretty quickly in order to get these shots in. So I'm trying to find a shot into that tank on the right. But as we do, we spot a pretty healthy Valor here, and our friendly Jag Tiger gets taken out. Valor kind of looks like he was going to give us a shot. I was going to wait to try and drive wheel him, or get a shot through his rear wheel and his track. It's not possible, and I've fired now, and I don't want to stay here again because they know where I am. There's 2 nasty TDs left on the enemy team as well, so I don't really want to eat any shots off of that tank. And the Valor, I only I can expect he's probably going to be pushing us down the sort of B1-2 area. So I'm going to get back up to the ridge where our friendly heavy tank in the middle. If he gets in the cap circle, you know, the enemy team are going to know where he is, and I want to be in a position that when they push that cap circle, I will be in a position to shoot them. They may even think at this point, unless he's spotted that it's me, because I was last spotted there, well, in that location by the Valor. So I'm just going to try and keep the vision the best I can and cover my friendly tank. Light tank does go to try and kill our friendly tank, and we're able to finish him off there. And we spot the enemy Valor here. We put one shot in. I was going to try and get a second shot in, but it looks like he was aiming in on me. And with how accurate tanks are with the RBT, I didn't fancy in a big 440 shot off of the Valor. So I tried to just lose my spot and then go again. He's moving in here. We should be able to squeeze a shot in. As he does, we do. That puts him into a clippable position now for us. I think he's put on about 760 hit points around that mark, which means we can kill him in the 3 shots. Potentially 2 shots, but unlikely. More likely we'll need the 3 shots to kill him. So we're now in the 2 versus 3. We know where the Valor is. We don't know where the enemy TDs are. I'm guessing they're trying to make a way to kill our friendly Emil. I'm going to leave this Valor. I don't want to fight him there. There's no need to. I've got good mobility. I'm just going to get out of there, mainly because I was thinking, well, if these TDs are in the back, right, at the F sort of, you know, sort of the KJ line, when the Valor spots me if he gets close, I don't want to eat a shot off of the TDs whilst fighting the Valor. I'd rather try and kill the Valor while I'm not detected. As we move across though, we spot an enemy T30 which has killed our friendly Emil tank. Now I don't have a shot at him there because he's behind some hard cover and he's hull down to us, but I might be able to move and get into a kill to kill him by a different angle. I need to do it fast though, because remember the enemy Valor is making an advance on my location. T30 loses a spot, but we're able to kill him blind to pick up our 5th kill of the game. And now we're trying to run from this enemy Valor. And I'm thinking I can definitely win this game. If you're looking at the hit points, it's 4% hit points. The Valor's on 700 hit points. So I'm guessing that the enemy TD doesn't have a lot of hit points either. So I'm going to try and, yeah, I don't want to eat a big one off the TD, but I could if I had to. But I'd rather try and catch him out. I'm going to pull back and then try and get a shot into this Valor as he's making his advance here. Going to try and get one in here. Unfortunately, he's moving. He's, you know, left and right, and my shot goes into his track. I don't stay up for the second shot because that would be a mistake if the enemy TD is looking to cover that Valor, which I imagine he would be. But now the TD's got into the cap circle. Now that's fantastic news for us because there's 4 minutes 4 on the clock. He's not going to cap us out. That's just not going to happen. And that means I know exactly where he is. So that's going to help me massively. Now what I wish I did in this situation, right? The Valor is chasing me. I've got enough time on the clock. Now at this point I was thinking I was going to move and try and kill the enemy TD in the cap circle. But I wish I just stopped where I was because I had enough time and I could have just baited that Valor in, waited for him to come in and then just killed the Valor because I can kill him in one clip and then I'd be in a 1 versus 1. So that's kind of what, looking back on this replay and reflecting, I think I should have done that, and I regret not doing that. But I thought also, you know, I could just pull back to here and do the same thing when the Valor came round. This is what I was thinking right now. And I could also try and spot the cap circle. Now I do spot the cap circle. TD gets spotted. I couldn't get my shot in, but he's driving straight off. He's had some crazy driving. He's obviously been watching my driving, and yeah, now we're into a 1 versus 1, and it was kind of a shame because I wanted to try and pick up the Devastator medal for killing both tanks, but I can't do that now. But I just need to try and kill the Valor. But this is where I'm going to have to sort of leave you to some music in a minute, because what basically happens is I'm trying to find this Valor. Now, well, I don't find him, so I'm going to leave you to a little bit of music, and yeah, well, we can see what happens. See, as you can see, unfortunately, we ran out of time to find this Valor, and we find him right at the last moment, but he's behind cover, and we don't have enough time to kill him, which was kind of frustrating. You know, I was trying to find him. I thought he ran and hid, and it looks like he was chasing me. I was chasing him, and we never managed to find each other. But we still have a good game. 5 kills, 5,600 damage, 1,000 assistance. We pick up the ace tanker and a high caliber. But it's a real shame we could have, you know, ended up with sort of 6.5k and the 6th kill had we been able to find the Valor. But you know, that is it for the video. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you do like it, please remember to like and subscribe. I'll try and get videos in the other buff tanks. There's a lot of content to get through. So yeah, thanks for your amazing support and happy tanking.
Hadouken!